Welcome to Transfer Thursdays on quite potentially an actual Thursday. Before we go into this video though, I just wanted to mention that my last video didn't really perform as well as I thought it would, and I think it deserves a little more attention. It was on a Japanese team, so it's understandable why it did so poorly, but I really enjoyed making that video and I think you guys will as well, so go check it out in the annotations. Anyways, January 1st, we start with Cody Gakpo. Gakpo before the World Cup was in extremely high demand. I remember Arsenal and Manchester United both having links to him. The winger from Eindhoven scored 9 goals and assisted 12 in just 14 league appearances in the Eredivisie, and it's this season that he has done this, by the way. Then during the World Cup, Gakpo quickly became a standout performer, scoring in 3 consecutive matches for the Dutch. This prompted Liverpool, who without Diogo Jota and Luis Diaz, to spend 42 million plus add-ons to acquire the instinctive finisher. Cody Gakpo is extremely versatile. He can play on the left and he can also play through the center, as we saw in the World Cup. He's also no one-trick pony. He can overlap the fullback, can run in behind the defense with his pace, and can even cut inside and shoot. In fact, what makes him so desirable is his quick ability to find a shooting opportunity and take it. As we're starting to see, Liverpool are building somewhat of the next big three here. The likes of Darwin Núñez, Luis Diaz, and now of course Cody Gakpo. It's only a matter of time though that we actually see if this bears the fruits or not. Gakpo stays at Liverpool until 2028. 28-year-old Santos Laguna center midfielder Fernando Gorriarón moves west to new club Tigres for 12.2 million. The Uruguayan signs until 2026. Ivorian forward David Datro Fofana signs for Chelsea from Norwegian champions Molde for 12 million. The 20-year-old scored 15 times in the league last season and signs until 2029. On a different side note, have you ever tried putting the little Street Finder pin in any location in Norway? It's really fun. 25-year-old center back Cesar Montes has spent his entire senior career with Monterrey. Now he turns another page and creates a new chapter with new club Espanyol as he signs for 5 million until 2028. Canada see yet another promising talent in 20-year-old Ismail Kone, who signs for Watford from Montreal for 8 million until 2026. Brighton's new favorite pastime is taking in promising South Americans and turning them into absolute machines. 18-year-old attacking midfielder Facundo Buonotte becomes the next project as he signs for 6 million until 2026. Philadelphia fans, you lost the MLS Cup and the World Series within a couple of hours. And then you lost the Super Bowl. Now you lose 19-year-old Paxton Aronson to Frankfurt. Paxton is regarded as a huge prospect for the US, and this move could see him really break out in the years to come. Frankfurt spent just 4 million and signed him on a 4-year deal. Yet another Canadian leaves Montreal for the British Isles. This time it is 24-year-old right back Alistair Johnston who joins Celtic for 3.5 million until 2027. Udinese have been doing wonders in Serie A as of late. They hope to bolster their attack with 19-year-old left winger Mateus Martins from Fluminense as he joins for 6 million on a long-term deal. In one of the more interesting signings, Disney Plus's biggest fan Dejan Lovren joins Lyon for 2 million until 2025. Garçon's time at Marseille was quite underwhelming, so the 25-year-old midfielder now returns to Flamengo for 15 million until 2027. If the meme wasn't beaten to death already, another RB Salzburg player in Maximilian Wöber joins Leeds for 12 million. The 24-year-old center back stays until 2027. Promising German winger Kevin Schaig joins Brentford on loan from Freiburg. Brentford will have an obligation to buy the 21-year-old at the end of the season, which would break their current transfer record of 20 million. 21-year-old center back Benoit Badiashile of the tax haven merchants becomes the second signing in just 5 days for Chelsea. Badiashile is composed on the ball, can be a major physical presence, and has the gleaming pace of a youngster that will come in handy. Chelsea paid 38 million for him as he signs for 7 years. Then, in a strange turn of events, 32-year-old left-back Daley Blind is now a Bayern Munich player. Bayern got him on a free and he stays until the end of the season. Chelsea add another youngster and nail him to yet another 7-year contract. 18-year-old André Santos of Vasco da Gama joins for 12.5 million, which now totals Chelsea's spending at 62.5 million in just the first 6 days of the window. Goalkeeper Geronimo Rulli is remembered for 2 things: his masterclass in 2021 or his disaster class against Liverpool last year. The 30-year-old though now moves on to another adventure in the Netherlands with Ajax for 8 million and signs until 2026. Rulli before leaving recorded recorded his best save percentage in 14 games, 82.1%. This is promising for Ajax, as their current goalkeeper hasn't exactly been that great. Southampton this year in the league looked like roadkill in the middle of Buford, Wyoming. With one of the worst attacks in the league, they hope to rejuvenate with Zagreb winger Mislav Orsic for 5.75 million as he signs until 2025. Another youngster from the Norwegian league leaves in Igo Ogbu, who joined Slavia Prague for 2.5 million until 2026. Watford collect a man from Benfica's B team and Joao Ferreira for 2.25 million and sign him until 2027. 31-year-old Tunisian international Ihsan Jabali joins Gamba Osaka for 1 million and signs with the Japanese team until 2025. He scored 27 goals in 92 appearances for former club Odense Boldklub. 30-year-old goalkeeper Matthew Ryan has become somewhat of a journeyman in the later stages of his career. He now moves from Copenhagen to AZ Alkmaar for 500k. You guys remember Javier Pastore? You know, when he first signed for PSG, he looked great, even before then with Palermo. Fantastic. But after a couple years, he's just kind of fizzled out. It's been depressing. The 33-year-old now finds himself at Qatar SC from Elche on a free. Benicaphobe has had the senior career that of a Serie A prospect. He's pretty much never had a home anywhere. However, now he might have just found one in the UAE with Hatta Club, where he signs on a free. Southampton continue their quest in saving their season with the addition of 20-year-old midfielder Carlos Alcaraz for 13.65 million. The young midfielder from Racing Club signs until 2027. According to Villa's new manager Unai Emery, 29-year-old Alex Moreno has been one of the top left-backs in La Liga over the past few seasons. So Aston Villa acquired the Catalan international for 13.5 million until 2026. Chelsea make their fourth signing of the window in Joao Felix, who comes in on loan with a fee of 11 million. Felix has shown glimpses of brilliance, but nothing really compares to what we saw during his Benfica days. It's not entirely his fault though. He plays for Atleti. Benfica have been grilling opponents left and right both in the league and in Europe this season. They add even more firepower in talented Danish striker Kasper Tengstedt of Rosenborg for 7 million as he signs until 2028. Tengstedt scored 15 goals in the Norwegian league last season. Benfica just a day later take another player from the Norwegian leagues. This time it's 18-year-old left winger Andreas Schjelderup for 9 million and he signs until 2028. The left winger scored 10 goals in 17 appearances in the Norwegian league. 29-year-old Mario Lemina returns to the Prem after a 2-year stint with Nice. Wolves acquire his services for 11 million as he signs until 2025. 20-year-old forward Dion Beljo takes his talents from Croatian club NK Osijek to Augsburg for 3 million and stays until 2027. In yet another interesting turn of events, Manchester United bring in Wout Weghorst on loan from Burnley. Weghorst before his move had 8 goals and 4 assists for Besiktas. More than likely we won't be seeing him score that much, but I could see him being an effective false 9 with his stature. Patrick Bamford's finishing ability and his touches have expired and Leeds needed a change badly, which has now seen them buy Georgino Rutter for 28 million from Hoffenheim. The 20-year-old forward hasn't been great this season, only producing 4 goal contributions, but I suppose anything's better than Bamford right now. Rutter stays until 2028. Arsenal were very keen on snatching 22-year-old left winger Mykhailo Mudryk this January, but every single bid was rejected. That's when Todd Boehly took advantage of the situation and dropped 70 million plus 30 million in add-ons to purchase the extremely talented winger. The Ukrainian has scored 7 goals and assisted another 6 in the league. His performances in the Champions League, however, is why he was in such high demand. Mudryk is an explosive winger with no weak foot, making it extremely difficult to mark him. The way he can confidently use stepovers to shift in position is very reminiscent of Mbappe, and his finishing is absolutely brutal. Within a blink of an eye of seeing an opening, the ball will be in the net. Chelsea this season have the 19th slowest attack in the league, and while Mudryk is still very raw, he could be the X factor that Chelsea have been missing for quite some years now. Mudryk signs for 8.5 years, a loophole which allows Chelsea to fall under financial fair play. However, this loophole will be illegal in the next window. With the departure of Alex Moreno, Real Betis replace him with 22-year-old left-back Abner from Atletico Paranaense. He joins for 7 million until 2029. 21-year-old midfielder Danilo has been the heart of Palmeiras for a couple years now, leading him to be linked with multiple clubs, including Arsenal. In the end, though, the Palmeiras midfielder finds a new home at Nottingham Forest for 20 million until 2029. Thai club Lamphun Warrior FC gain a new forward in 38-year-old Bill. Since moving to PSG back in 2019, things have just stagnated for Pablo Sarabia. Now 30 years old, the right winger hopes to find his old form again at Wolves for $5 million as he stays until 2025. Since the 2017-18 season, right winger Viktor Sihankov has scored 10+ goals for Dynamo Kiev. However, now the 25-year-old seeks a new challenge in La Liga with Girona, who are currently in 11th. The Spanish club acquire his services for $5 million until 2027. Following an injury to starting right back Thomas Meunier, Dortmund needed a replacement quick. This is where 25-year-old Julian Ryerson enters the picture as Dortmund activate the Norwegian's clause for $5 million and he signs until 2026. Another emergency signing appeared for French club Nantes, who recently lost their left-back Quentin Merlin to injury. That signing was one of Ligue 2's most exciting prospects, Jawen Hajam, for $300k and he signs until 2027. Tigres acquire another player this window in Nicolas Ibanez for $10.1 million. Ibanez last season for Pachuca scored 13 Liga MX goals. Hertha Berlin are currently sitting 16th, a complete dumpster fire of an organization right now. In an attempt to simmer the flames though, they've bought forward Florian Niederlechner for $500k and he stays in the capital until 2025. In 131 appearances, Joseph Martinez has scored 93 times for Atlanta United. However, the vicious Venezuelan will now be taking his talents to South Beach on a free for one season. If in 2015 you told me that Bournemouth would be making a purchase of over $20 million in 2023, I would have thought you were insane. As of late, Lorient have been pumping out talented youngsters like Sushi from that one Drake and Josh episode. Danga Uwatra, before leaving, was the best performer for Lorient with 11 goal contributions. Bournemouth hope he can turn the season around and pay $22.5 million as Dango signs until 2028. Every time Bayern have to play against Mönchengladbach, Jan Sommer turns into each and every prime keeper imaginable all at once. Bayern's current number 1, Manuel Neuer, is out because of a skiing injury. So the Bavarians said they had enough. If you can't beat them, buy them. The 34-year-old Swiss international signs for $8 million until 2025. Mönchengladbach, having now lost the only entity that can actually prevent goals, seem to be prepared for this situation though. They've now taken Montpellier's only living being that can save the defense in Jonas Omlin for $9 million and he signs until 2027. Omlin may not have the most attractive save percentage, but considering he's had to face 122 shots on target, I'll give him a break. Chelsea add yet another winger in 20-year-old Noni Madueke for $35 million. Madueke averages nearly 8 progressive carries per game and over 4 successful take-ons. Judging from his 13 progressive passes received per 90, he's very quick in his way of attacking, something Chelsea desperately need. Madueke joins the Blues on a contract that lasts until 2030. Having missed out on Mudryk, Arsenal go for a short-term solution to better their title hopes in 28-year-old left winger Leandro Trossard. Trossard provides the type of direct and tricky dribbling that Arteta loves as he signs until 2026. The annual tradition of injuries has once again struck Leicester like a Shenyud advertising spree. The only options at fullback they have currently are just Timothy Castagna and Luke Thomas. So Leicester came in with $14 million to buy 20-year-old left back Victor Christiansen from Copenhagen and he stays until 2028. When word came out about Danny Ings' move to Aston Villa, many saw this as a European charge for the club. The first season was especially promising, with Ings scoring 7 and assisting another 6. However, injuries and inconsistencies have dragged the Englishman down significantly. He now moves from one claret and blue club to another in West Ham for $12 million. Malian international Kiki Kouyaté makes a move to Montpellier for $6 million. The 25-year-old centre-back signs until 2026. Memphis Depay had a solid first season with Barcelona, scoring 12 times. However, Barcelona gave him the middle finger practically and signed Robert Lewandowski. As a result, the 28-year-old forward moves to Atletico Madrid, where I hope to God Diego Simeone doesn't suck the essence of football from him. Union Berlin have impressed beyond everyone's wildest of dreams, and their passionate fans deserve every second of it. However, with the departure of Julian Ryerson, the Berlin club needed to find a replacement quickly. This is where 27-year-old right back Josip Juranovic comes in for $8.5 million until 2027. Juranovic was a key player in Croatia's run to the World Cup semi-finals. With Rob Holding being the only backup centre-back, Arsenal bring in 22-year-old centre-back Jakub Kiwior from Spezia for $25 million until 2028. 18-year-old forward Jon Duran was very impressive last season for Chicago Fire, scoring 8 times. That's prompted Unai Emery's army to sign the young Colombian for $16.6 million on a long-term deal. Man City buy a promising defensive midfielder in Maximo Perrone for $11 million and he signs until 2028. Argentinians at City have varying success. You could either have an Aguero or a Bruno Zuccolini. Edouard Sobel, for the most part, has experienced a great time at Club Brugge, helping them win 3 straight league titles. However, he's barely played this season, and as a result, the Ukrainian Ukrainian goes to France to help Strasbourg survive. He joins for 2.5 million until 2026. 28-year-old forward Ludovic Ajorc grew into a clinical finisher at Strasbourg, however this season has been a major struggle. He's decided to jump ship and move to Mainz for 6 million until 2026. Arnaut Danjuma was very close to signing on loan with Everton. However, reality finally set in and he realized, oh wait, why the hell would I do that to myself? That's not actually what happened, but it probably should have, considering Everton couldn't find the right papers to complete the signing in the first place. Spurs, seeing this though, took advantage of the opportunity, and now Danjuma will be coming to North London on loan. In his first season with Villarreal, the 25-year-old left winger experienced a fantastic year, scoring 10 times. Nice completed the signing of 24-year-old Yusuf Endayeshimiye for 11.5 million until 2027. At Başakşehir this season, he was the club's best performing defender. Vincent Kompany and Burnley have been building a brand new culture never before seen at Turf Moor. And with the new culture comes one of the best transfer reveals you'll see in quite some time.
Number 3! Burnley Football Club, you've chosen Lyle Foster.
Lyle Foster this season has scored 8 times for Westerlo in the Belgian league, and now Burnley have acquired him for 11 million as he signs until 2027. Celtic continued to buy up the entire East Asian market, bringing in Oh Hyun-gyu of South Korea for 2.8 million, and he stays until 2028. Karl Toko Ekambi, after some successful seasons with Lyon, has made a loan move to Rennes. Bournemouth add more attacking reinforcements in 23-year-old centre forward Antoine Semenyo from Bristol City for 10.2 million, and he signs until 2027. Dortmund, being Dortmund, couldn't help themselves to some young kids. Wait, that went out wrong. 16-year-old Julian Duranville is considered one of the most promising attackers in Belgium. The Anderlecht prospect joins Dortmund for 8.5 million on a long-term deal. Bamba Dieng has finally passed the medical. Let's go, boys! 18-year-old Oscar Gluck was key to his national team's success in the U19 Euros, where they reached the final. The extremely promising attacking midfielder now hopes to further his development at RB Salzburg for 7 million. Aissa Laiduni made a name for himself in the World Cup after his crowd-pumping tackles. He now joins Union Berlin for 4.1 million. 19-year-old Gustavo Puerta joins Leverkusen for 2 million, however he's been immediately loaned out to FC Nuremberg in Zweite Bundesliga. Troyes buy Alexis Tibidi for 2.6 million from Stuttgart, and he signs until 2027. Tibidi didn't see much time at Stuttgart, but he managed 5 goals in the Austrian league recently. It should also be mentioned the club he played for, Rheindorfer Touch, is currently managed by Miroslav Klose. Josip Brekalo experienced a great loan spell at Torino last season. He's back, but on a permanent deal with this time Fiorentina for 1.5 million until 2026. Romain Favre was an extremely promising talent to a lot of French media during his time at Brest. It has not worked out at all at Lyon, unfortunately, but he still got time at 24 years old at new club Lorient. The speedy and talented Anthony Gordon has escaped the grasp of the blue dumpster fire. Newcastle's 45 million bid for the 21-year-old left winger was accepted, and he signs on a long-term deal. The Magpies already have the best defense in the league, so the addition of Gordon could help reinforce their charge for Champions League. Chelsea signed another youngster and put him on another 7-year contract. This time it's 19-year-old right back Malo Gusto of Lyon, who joins for 30 million. This now totals Chelsea's January spending at over 238 million. Moroccan midfielder Azzedine Ounahi made a name for himself during World Cup 2022, which has led Marseille to drop 8 million for his services as he signs until 2027. Wolves continue to build up their structure to fight relegation and sign 21-year-old midfielder Joao Gomez from Flamengo for 18.7 million. The youngster stays until 2028. The 51st state of the US, Leeds United, have again acquired an American. Weston McKennie has experienced stints of success at Juventus, but never really any true consistency. He leaves Turin in hopes to find good form with the help of fellow Americans like Tyler Adams, Brendan Aronson, and Jesse Mark. If things go well though, Leeds have an option to buy Weston for 33 million at the end of the season. Lorient come in for 24-year-old center midfielder Jean-Victor Makengo for 11 million, and he signs until 2027. 21-year-old Amin Sarr has 9 goal contributions and 18 starts for Heerenveen this season. Lyon are in desperate need for goals, so they've acquired the Swede for 11 million until 2027. Another Swede makes a move elsewhere in midfielder Yassine Ayari. The 19-year-old joins Brighton for 4 million until 2027. 26-year-old attacking midfielder Abdelhamid Sabiri leaves the clown show that is Sampdoria for better pastures in Florence with Fiorentina for 2.5 million. Uzbek international Eldor Shomurodov's time at Roma hasn't really worked out. He hopes to rejuvenate his career with a loan move to Spezia. Man, something about strikers having good seasons with Genoa and then flopping once they move. So that was Transfer Thursdays from January 1st to January 30th. We'll have a separate video for just deadline day. But what was your favorite transfer? Is there one I missed? There probably was. Of course, a massive shout out to all our patrons, of course. Janos Balas, Chris Damasceno, El Favi, Miliway009, Aldipu, Alex Rod, Ulta, Amin Suamez, Aresan, Carlos Anaya, Francisco Hernandez, Juan Leras, Miguel Munoz, Nguyen Di Mintang, Return Fire, Rory Burns, Saw, The Motor Drive, Tomicus, Trevor Batson, Vanilla Mexican 17, Victor, David Dunn, Declan Malloy, Dominic Griffin, Emmett Shea, Lewis, Joe Paricio, Jordan Clavet, MX Weave, Niche, Patrick Barley, and Unbroken Persona. If you'd like to join the Patreon, there'll be a link down below and up in the annotations. You can follow my Twitter if you want, follow my Instagram if you like, follow my TikTok, trying to get to 20,000 there, and of course you can follow my semi-active Twitch. I don't really know how active it's going to be because there's construction happening all the time now. I don't want you guys to hear all the banging on the ceiling, but until then, I'll see you guys.